636. Heart's delight, source of mercy, draw your servant into your arms. I leap like a deer to stand in awe before you. Yetid nefesh avarachaman mishochar medechai eloritzornecha ayaru etzavtecha
Shabbat Shalom, Cantor Luck. It's very good to see you. So Cantor Luck began by announcing a page number, but we forgot to hand out the book. So here's what I would like you to do. Or you don't have to do it because we're going to sing everything along, but if you'd like to follow along the pages on a separate device is what I'd recommend if you have an iPad or a phone around, to type in virtual Mishkan, M-I-S-H-K-A-N, Tefillah. And it'll bring you up to a free website, and you can just follow along on all the page numbers that we are going to be calling out. So tonight we have a sad and also a really exciting, good moment in our community, is that we're going to be honoring Melissa Koningsberg. And Melissa, she has been leading our Tzedek Council as the chair, as the co-chair for what seems to, especially way pre-pandemic, but it feels to me like a decade at this point, the amount that she has done in taking care of this community. And it's not just taking care of our community, but the reach that Melissa has had is jaw-dropping. She literally has affected, through her work, thousands of people in San Francisco. She put together bags in order to help mothers who are homeless. She helped with different homeless drives across the board, or shelter feedings, and she has been the spearhead that has led us through it all. And it has gone back from when she would be running in from dropping kids off in preschool to kids leaving preschool to somehow shifting the entire Tzedek Council through the pandemic and trying to figure out how do we serve and how do we do a mitzvah now that we are so removed. And so there are not enough words to thank Melissa for all she has done to help our community and to help this city. But we are going to give you in the next week a tzedakah box. And why a tzedakah box? Because you've done a lot of tzedakah. You've done a lot of giving. But that tzedakah box is going to be filled up with notes from everyone from the Tzedek Council who you have led, of what you have meant to this community and the way you have taken us forward. So it's my deep and profound honor to invite in Melissa to share a few words, but then also to light the candles, because she's added so much light, but also to bring some light into this Shabbat.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Bauer. I'm so humbled for this recognition tonight, and especially for the social justice work that means so much to me. I want to thank all the clergy who have been so supportive of this effort, and especially Rabbi Bauer, Rabbi Beth, and Rabbi Rodich, and Rabbi Paris, who have gotten to work with on the social justice work. I also want to thank all my current and former Tzedek Council members for their dedication and passion to social justice, as well as all the congregants who have volunteered their time to collectively do this important work, which is what makes it. It's all of you. So thank you so much. And don't worry, you're not getting rid of me, because I will still be around. Last but not least, a special thank you to Laura Ettinson, Michael Colvin, and Lisa Krim, who have all been co-chairs or co-chairs with me. And since you're all tuned in watching services, please visit, get involved with Tzedek Council on Emanu-El's website and sponsor a Hamotzi box for our annual third Light of Giving.
Always closing.
And thank you very much. I'm really honored. Ready, guys? Okay, ready. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Thank you, Melissa, and thank you, Billy, and the whole family, just for all the support you've given in order to enable this to occur. So thank you.
Shabbat shalom. Thank you.
So we are going to continue now on page 20 with Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה. Shabbat, Pnei Shabbat, Nekabela, Yalalai, Lecha Dodi, Yalalai, Yalalai, Lekrat Kala, Yalalai, Pnei Shabbat, Pnei Shabbat, Nekabela, Shamor v'Zachor. Emanu-El Shabbat nekabela Boi v'shalom teret bala gam b'simcha u'b'tzola torchemune am segula boi chala ay ay lecha dodi mikrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela ay ay lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela ay 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 lay 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 ay ay lay 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 B'nei Shabbat nekabela.
We're going to continue with Shalom Alechem as we welcome in those Shabbos angels.
Shalom Aleichem Malachei Hasharet Malachei Elyon Melech Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Boachem L'Shalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Melech Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Baruch Hu L'Shalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Melech Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Tzedchem L'Shalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Melech Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
On page 27, we move to the Baruch. And the Baruch is it's really the start of the service. It's when you actually rise and the whole congregation comes together and they say, we're ready to pray. And one of the hardest things for us is when we went to the diaspora 2,000 years ago and we weren't centralized anymore and we were all spread out, we wanted to be together. And so we came up with this system of every time we're going to rise for this blessing and for the Amidah, we're all going to face in the exact same direction. So no matter how far apart we were, it might be 10 miles, 20 miles, thousands of miles, we were always connected. So I'm going to invite you to rise and to figure out where is east in your house and to face that direction. And then all of us, as separate as we may feel, will be connected not just with each other, but with Jews all around the world.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed. Ay lay 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 ay lay 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 ay lay lay ay lay lay ay lay lay ay lay ay.
This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us, shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. We invite everybody to take a big, deep breath in. I'm going to invite you to close your eyes now, and you can take 3 fingers to cover your face as we move into the Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Now, if you are still standing, I'm going to invite you to sit down as we move into Mi Chamocha, and we are on page 40 if you're following along.
גברן יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
We reach the point in our service where we say Mishaberach, the blessing for those who are in need of healing, either of body or of spirit, or sometimes both. As a congregation, we are praying for Susan Cole, Frank Friedman, Ruth Rishin, Marilyn Lebarsky, Michael Shaw, Tom Kreisman, Sarah Greenberg, Jennifer Begg, Steve Weimar, Ann Jackson, Kendra Hames, Charles Bleeden, Lenore Bleeden, and Burton R. Jackson. If there's someone else who you are praying for who is in need of healing, if you'll type their name into the chat. Mishaberach Avotenu v'Imotenu Avraham Yitzhak v'Yaakov. Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah Hu Yivarech et Acholim. May the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah bless and heal those who are ill. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion, for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and a complete renewal of spirit. And let us all say, Amen.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and
Page 42 as we move into Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. Ve'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Fros aleinu sukat shlomecha, fros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath your wings, oh Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, oh Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us daily wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amen.
So now we reach the very pinnacle of our service as we move into the Amidah. In the Amidah, now that we're in Shabbat, we've lit the candles, we really shift time. That during the whole week, we've talked about this before, during the other 6 days of the week, in the Amidah, there's the main section in there where you ask for things. You ask what you want to see in the world. On Shabbat, you stop asking for things. You actually move into a place of just being grateful and being appreciative. And so I'm going to ask you to rise again and to think about what you are appreciative for. The one thing I've heard from people throughout the week and all of my meetings is things are going to be really dark. And they are really dark, and they're going to get darker. That's the general sense I'm hearing from people as we move back into another lockdown. And it's not the first time the Jewish people have been in a dark place or look into the future and think it's about to get darker. And every single time when we get to Shabbat, we put a pause button on that. And we move just to a place of gratitude. And so please rise. We'll start with the Amidah, which we will chant out loud. And then when we move to the silent prayer, think about what you are the most grateful for in your world and in your life right now. We're on page 46. Cantor, would you unmute yourself, please?
Adonai sifatai tiftachu fi yagid tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומר חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ברופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידה מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישוע ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please continue silently, and when you have finished, please be seated.
עושה שלום במרומיו ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל
In the past week, I guess 2 weeks ago, and then maybe again this week, I went to Costco. And Elise had told me when I got to Costco, I had to make sure we had toilet paper and paper towels. And I get to the back of the store, and unbelievably enough, it looks like it did at the beginning of the pandemic, and everything is gone again. And, you know, we joke, we laugh about this whole toilet paper obsession that people have during COVID, but it's real. And there's something, too, when we as a society and as people are afraid of something that is coming at us. We hoard and we get everything close to us, preparing and counting and making sure that we're going to be okay. See, stocking up and counting everything and preparing for that fear in front of you, it's normal. We actually see it in this week's Parsha, in Vayishlach. You literally see Jacob comes along, and he's been afraid his entire life. And he's about to see his brother Esau, and he thinks that either Esau is going to take all of his stuff from him, people are going to be killed, and he splits the camps up. And it literally goes through, and it tells you the census of who he has and where he's splitting things up. It's as if he's doing his own hoarding, because he's so afraid of what's coming. And it says in the text that he's afraid. Now, in Tanhuma Hukat 25, it states that when we look at Jacob, you may ask the question of why is this guy afraid? I mean, this person is more secure than any of us. He has been guaranteed by God that he's safe. But in Tanhuma, it tells us that a pious man, it never gets rid of fear. Rather, they stay in this place of humility, of how fragile we are, of being aware of that danger of what's in front of us. It's logical to be scared. He knows the power of what's in front of him. Esau is an unbelievable force, and the people around him are an unbelievable force. We know the power of COVID. And at this point, when we see the graph drop and now just spiking, and we get the text message saying that the Bay Area is shutting down again, it's frightening. So it's good to be humble. And it's good to be aware of one's fragility. But you see, this piece of Torah has embedded in it a much deeper wisdom on where peace is found. Because it's not actually found in Jacob collecting everything or me getting all of the paper towels or toilet paper. That's not where peace is found. What I want to challenge is the initial reaction to that fear. While it's natural, it's not actually the truth of what we're trying to solve for. Let me explain. First, if we look at Jacob, which is actually just a way of looking at us, Jacob is afraid of death, so it would seem. He's trying to protect his stuff. And his whole life, if you look at it, it's actually been about stuff. Acquiring stuff, fooling his father to get stuff. But you see, when you look at the stuff that he has, it's never brought him peace. Rather, the stuff in his life has had the complete opposite effect. It's caused him turmoil. It caused him to run away from his family. It caused him to seek out another family that was dishonest, basically marrying into a nearly identical family, where his father-in-law then lies to him. And now we see at the moment where he thinks if he could just split his own stuff up again, all of his fears will be allayed. But they're not. You see, what he's fearing, it's not the material in the world. It's the immaterial. It's about him wanting to feel secure and at peace. And he thinks stuff and acquiring and hoarding will get him there. But as a fly on the wall, it's so obvious to the observer that it's having the opposite effect on his life. What he really needs, it's the opposite. If you take antibiotics, one that also needs the antidote of taking probiotics. If he has been trying to fill his life with stuff, what he really needs at this point is to empty things out. So what does he do? Once he splits everything up, Jacob leaves all of his possessions behind. And he crosses over the Yabok River. Now, one definition of Yabok is literally emptiness. It's as if he's emptying himself out. Now, if you look closer at that word Yabok, it's actually Jacob's name, with the letters changed around. And they subtract one letter, and it's the Ayin. Now, why would you get rid of the Ayin? Because Ayin is for sight, from Enaim, eyes. See, Jacob literally crosses over himself to gain sight without being able to see. Because he goes into the darkness. He's in the desert. It's nighttime, and if you've ever been in the desert, in the middle of the night, if you put your hand up, you can't even see your hand. And he no longer has vision. What he needs is to look within and to wrestle with who he has been, and then identify his biggest weakness and realize there's not always an answer, but instead what we're afraid of, we shouldn't run away from. We shouldn't run away from the darkness or from our fears, but rather what we should do is just what he does. He leaves all of his stuff, he leaves the light, and he goes straight into the darkness. It's in that darkness where something incredible happens. It says that he begins to wrestle, it says, with a man. Never defines what the man is. And he wrestles all night long. And right before the sun is going to rise and he'll be able to see again, this thing says, I have to go. And he says, no, you can't leave. What are you? And it says, I'm just going to tell you that you have wrestled and striven with the divine. And because of that, and it's interesting, it's not that he won or overcame, it's that he actually engaged in the wrestling. And because of that, he changed his name from Jacob to Yisrael, to the one who literally wrestles with the divine. And when he leaves, he's actually no longer physically in the same shape. He's exhausted. Because wrestling all night, it's not easy. Going in the darkness is not easy. And he has his hip wrenched. And he limps and he walks away. And his exterior is tired, but his interior is finally at peace. And he limps toward the thing that he was afraid of, which was his brother. And there's no war, there's no stealing. Instead, there's a hug, and there's a kiss, and there are tears. And there's finally peace. You see, the amazing thing about these past few weeks is that we actually can begin to see the light at the end of this COVID tunnel. The vaccine has been approved in the UK. We can begin to imagine what the world will be like when that sun arises again. But if this story teaches us anything, it's that our most sacred moment, Jacob's most sacred moment, it doesn't take place at the sunrise. It doesn't take place when he finally reaches the light. Where he transforms is in the darkness. That is where the sacredness and that is where the change happens. You see, this moment of COVID, the fear that comes with it, and there is fear, it's a gift if you engage with it. When you see the numbers spiking, whatever fear you have within you, don't push it away. Spend this Shabbat marinating and wrestling and asking yourself, what do you need to do to find a place of peace that can only be found in engaging and wrestling in the darkness of these moments that we're in right now. Now, I don't know what Jacob wrestled with in that darkness. The Torah is intentionally vague. What I do know is that he wrestled. I do know that he limped away and he was tired and he was worn out. And I do know that he was finally at peace. We don't get to peace without engaging. We don't get to peace without wrestling. On this Shabbat, we are moving back into a lockdown again, with 15% bed capacity in the Bay Area. And we're at home again, away from everyone, on the other side of the river. And my hope for all of us is that we do not waste this time in the silence, this time in the darkness of these days, but instead to reflect on where in your own life you need to find peace. So that when we come out of this, when the sun arises and all of us are limping into 2021, we do so not in the same place, but in a new place, in a place of peace. Can you hear Ratzon?
The entire world is but a narrow bridge. The most important thing is to not be afraid. Kol haolam kulo gesher tzar me'od gesher tzar me'od gesher tzar me'od kol haolam kulo gesher tzar me'od gesher tzar me'od Hi, 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 hi,
We reach the point in our service where we move to Kaddish, where we remember those who are no longer with us. Remember those who will be laid to rest after the Shabbat. Alana Bas Avraham Eliyahu Kozlova, Sigmund Ginsburg, and Holly Cohn. We remember those who passed away in the last 30 days. Janet Schlesinger, Shirley Marks, Lawrence Kay, Dr. Leonard Brandt, Bertha Jane Nebenzahl, Nicole Rosenthal, Sandy Copeland. And we remember those who passed away on this Shabbat. Miriam Agaloff, Harrison Enigster, Leanne Barlas, Edwina Berkowitz, Robert N. Block, Sonia Bogomlanya, Alice Braun, Velma Dorfman-Cohn, Sylvia Cooperman, Jeanette DeHovitz, Mary Einhorn, Natalie Frankel, Randy Geller, Richard Nathaniel Goldman, Alan Saul Goldstein, Mildred Goldstein, Mildred Eileen Haas, Peter E. Haas Sr., Fred Hall, Harriet Kesselman Hampshire, Gloria Hartman, Rita Holman, Ronald Isaacson, Don Johnson, Susan Kaplan, Aid Kushner, Rose W. Leannes, Robin Levine, Celia Levinson, Delpha S. Links, John Thomas Lorch, Aaron Luck, Rory Melching, Tracy Musa, Leslie Paris, Maurice Petnick, Ruth Phillips, Norma Petnick Richards, Donna Rosenberg, Mildred Rothman, Arthur Sachs, Flora Sasson, Samuel Schaefer, Lester Schneider, Joseph Jacob Shenson, Maxine Cohn Siegel, Theodore Smolin, Wendy Jo Sperber, Kobe Spiro, Everett H. Stahl, Ruth Sugarman, Harry Suris, Rachman Tabaksnik, Diane Thomas, Schrager Uberman, Stephen Robert Walder, William H. Watkins, Jeanette G. Winetsky, Morton Wolfe, Marjorie Fisher Zurin, and Barry Zwieben. If there's someone who you are remembering, if you could please type their name into the chat so the community can read and say their name as well. We are on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, v'yamad yivrach rotei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei techol beit Yisrael, b'agalau v'zman kali v'imru amen, yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'elam omei almaya, yitbarak v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yanaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudashah brichu, le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata, Damiran v'yamav v'imru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, all of Israel, and to all of humanity. Let us all say amen.
Say shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
I'm going to ask Cantor Luck to lead us in the Friday night Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'avav ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh זכר ליציאת מצרים, כי באנו ובחרת, והוצאנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת לחיים.
Now, Cantor, I see you have a Giants Kiddush cup. I don't know if you've noticed, but that season is over, and Warriors are starting very soon. So I think you need to mix the cups up a little bit. I mean, the Niners would have been acceptable, but it's okay.
Rabbi Bauer, if you want to buy me a Warriors Kiddush cup, you know my address. I'm ready for it.
Never mind. The Giants Kiddush cup looks great. Let's stick to that one right there. So a few announcements before we do Motzi is the two big announcements. First one is the AJC is having their 75th anniversary honoring Dianne Feinstein and Tad Taub, and it's Monday, December 14th, and we're going to have participants from our own Cantor Luck and our own Rabbi Pierce. So I'm going to invite all of you to please register online, as well as we have Hanukkah events coming up, including a special Shabbat on December 11th, which I cannot believe is next week. I don't know how that happened. Shocking. And so
can I say, Rabbi, I want to say something about Shabbat next week. It's going to be an all Zoom meeting. So it's a little different than we normally do it because we want to give everybody a chance to see everybody's Chanukiot. So you got to register. You got to go onto our website to get the Zoom link. We want you to go onto that Zoom link on Friday, and we want you to be ready to light your Chanukiah with the entire community.
Great. Now, as we move into Motzi, thinking about Donnie right now. We don't have a Donnie challah, but I do have my daughter made a challah. So I'm gonna hold this up right here. And if you have a challah with you, I invite you to hold it up and join me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Oh, say shalom bimro'am. Booyah, say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Ve'imru. Amen. shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imeru amen. I want to thank Bay Area legend Dick Bright for playing violin this evening. And I also want to thank Bay Area legend Eric Schoen for running our sound this evening.
And I'd like to thank Michigan legend Melissa Koenigsberg for lighting our candles.
Shabbat shalom, everybody. We'll see you.